This weekend, we might see Erik Ten Hag announced officially as Manchester United manager. I've done this a couple of times with our recent appointments, far too often, actually, for my own liking. But I thought I'd do another one. And it's good to look back on and see how close and how right or how wrong that you were with the previous ones. So here we go. Here's 5 things that I expect from Ten Hag's United. In at number 1, youth. Manchester United need a cultural reset, and we have currently got one of the best academies that we've had for a long time. There are a ton of players that have been out on loan maturing, as well as a ton of players that have been developing nicely in the under-23s and under-18 system. Some of those will be ready to bolster the first team. Some of those might even be ready to take first team players' places. The good thing is Ten Hag's going to play them. He's notorious for trusting, believing in, playing youth, as well as developing and giving them chances early doors. The FA Youth Cup this year, we've seen a real bright spark in what's been a fairly disappointing season otherwise. And in that run, United fans are wondering which youngsters could have an immediate future in the first team. Alvaro Fernandez, Alejandro Garnacho, Charlie McNeil, Kobe Mainu, Isaac Hansen. The list goes on and on and on. There is a lot of players that are worth somebody taking a look at. Those are the ones that have been singled out for praise. When you add them to the ones that have been out on loan or in and around the first team squad already, Hannibal Mabry, maybe even Bjorn Hadley, Ted Mengi, Ethan Laird, Garner, Levitt, Galbraith. There's a lot of players that could really transform the makeup of this squad. And I do think Jimmy Garner is the one that most United fans have got their eye on being involved to some degree next season. And Ten Hag's made that commitment clear about what he's all about when he's spoken about it at AJAX in the past. He said all the way back in 2019, "We're doing a great job at AJAX. The level of our youth academy is top class. In the past 2 years, we've sold great players like Justin Kluivert, Frenkie de Jong and Matthijs de Ligt, and we are earning a lot of money by doing so. Besides that, we still have homegrown players like Blind, Mars Rao, Van der Beek, CM de Jong, Dest and Veltman in our first team. All of those players played in our youth academy for multiple years. I think we have to be realistic sometimes. It's hard to have new starters available on such short term. But I do agree that youngsters need a chance in the first team, but they have to have deserved that chance themselves. They have to prove they're better than the current players, or at least have the potential to be better." That's out of the man's mouth himself, and I hope he brings that attitude to Old Trafford. Number 2, the AJAX invasion. Ten Hag will come with an ungodly amount of expectation, trying to manage the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and having to go toe-to-toe with Pep Guardiola, Antonio Conte, Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel on a weekly basis. Therefore, he will need help, and he's going to do that with familiar faces. Of course, he's going to bring in his assistant, Mitchell van der Gaag, with him to Old Trafford, but also wouldn't be surprised to see some AJAX players come with him. It's very common to see a new manager bring in their general, their dressing room leader into a new dressing room to help them get his message over on the player side. You can't just do it all from coaching. You do need to have some players that are with the manager as well. Really put his mark on the team and be their voice inside the changing room. The likes of Edson Alvarez, Mazraoui, that could be one. It could be Timber. It could be Donny van der Beek, in all honesty. You know, Alvarez, originally a centre-back, transitioned to playing a defensive midfielder under Ten Hag, similar to how Declan Rice has developed. He could be one that is brought across. You've got the Mazraoui, the 24-year-old right-back. He's out of contract in the summer, with him standing at 6 feet tall and being able to move into midfield when needed. A little bit like, you know, a budget version of what you get with Fabinho. Maybe there's someone there that could put a bit of pressure on Wan-Bissaka or Dalot, someone that could come in and be an integral part of the team almost straight away. There's a lot of players at AJAX that improve United, and we've not even spoken about Anthony. You know, there's players in there that are doing bits for him. There's players that he already knows. There's going to be a bit of an AJAX invasion, I think, at Old Trafford. Number 3, this is huge. Football decisions and a renewed transfer policy. The fact that Erik Ten Hag has taken this job after we'd heard, and I think deliberately heard, he was only going to take the job if he was given assurances about some of the footballing decisions that were going to be made, can only be a positive. Now, it's plausible he's been lied to and told that he will get things he won't get. That happens pretty regular. But I was more worried that he was going to reject the job after putting his demands out. So at least they're pretending they're going to stick to what he wants. He will not be able to establish a total football outpost at Old Trafford with the current personnel. We know the transfer policy needs changing. We know that United have got talented underachievers in the squad, but it's a horribly imbalanced group of individuals that needs to be culled. Now, you might be able to get a renewed sense of urgency and a real work ethic in the team just by changing 30% of the personnel that are in there, maybe 40% of the personnel. Last year, United needed a holding midfielder that could set the tempo, take the ball off the goalkeeper, move the ball up through the thirds, and we didn't get it. We still need that. We opted for probably more commercial buys in terms of Varane, who, let's be honest, was still needed, and Ronaldo, who, again, very much an emotional commercial buy, but we still need a centre-forward, and we arguably still need a centre-forward. Ten Hag must know exactly what roles football director John Murta, technical director Darren Fletcher, and soon-to-be advisor Ralph Radnick are doing. Who is responsible for what? Is Paul Mitchell going to be involved? Those roles need to be clearly defined, their authority needs to be laid out, and everybody needs to be working together to get Erik what he wants to be in the first team. Not their idea. Their job is to speak with him, interrogate his ideas, and then go and action his plans. United need to build a new football team. They needed to build it in Erik ten Hag's image. He needs to have the keys. He needs to have the final say. He needs to have the veto, and he needs to have the power to get rid of people. That's something that Manchester United have not really been able to do. And that's why you've got so many different managers' corpses just littering up the training ground, because we've been unable to jettison people because we don't want to be seen to lose money. Well, you lose more money by keeping hold of them. You want a serial winner to build a team that can win, and you want a serial winner to build a team that needs a rebuild. You got to give him the authority to do that. Number 4, a distinct style of play. Now, one of the things that we thought have been missing from Manchester United in recent years, and Ollie got a lot of criticism for it, even though that's seemingly a new narrative appearing on Twitter. But Erik ten Hag comes with a very distinct style of play, very solid ideas on how he wants to see football played. We'll invariably see his imprint on the United team, and should he be allowed to shape the team in his image, I feel like it could be successful. He plays mostly with a 4-3-3, but he's known to use a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1. While at Utrecht, he did go with a 4-4-2 with a diamond in midfield. I would think that's still a possibility because there's not too much difference in the general dynamics of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and the 4-4-2 diamond. He likes variation in his build-up, which I like. He has purposeful defensive first defenders. He has a midfield which has got fluidity and technical ability. He is a big fan of counter-pressing and aggressive marking and hard work off the ball. He loves width, movement ahead of the ball carrier, and attacking flexibility. You see players swapping wings. You see number 9s dropping into midfield to help up start play. You see all sorts of real nice technical things from his teams. And that's one of the main appeals, for me at least, about Erik ten Hag. He is a system coach and he achieves success through those means. However, not all attractive football is created equal. He is going to need the required personnel to be able to do what he wants to do. With him being steeped in AJAX history, Ten Hag chose a style that will not just look like various ideas of what a classic United can be. He's going to come and be Erik ten Hag's Manchester United. And maybe it's time for that. Maybe it's not about what would Fergie do anymore. Maybe it's about what's Erik going to do. The football's going to look a lot more like Pep Guardiola than Fergie or Solskjaer or Klopp. But I think it'll still be a little bit more direct. Will that be tolerated? In the era of messianic managers, is everyone going to accept this? Is everyone going to accept the teething problems that we even saw Pep have at Manchester City if he tries to implement a possession-based style? Are we going to get the sort of treatment that Louis got, because there'll be times if we don't get the attacking flair that we're looking for, where we might have established dominance in a game, we might be able to pull up 65% possession, but we haven't got quite the fluidity or the personnel in the final third. Is a crowd going to be screaming attack, attack, attack? We saw it under Louis. I still think it's going to take us 5 years to be able to start seriously considering United to be capable of winning titles. As I said the other day, United have got to work hard to be considered 4th best team. Then you can try and pick Chelsea off. But you're miles away from looking at City and Liverpool enviously at all yet. You just got to forget about them. You're nowhere near them. And finally, speed, tempo, energy. This excites me about Ten Hag. Due to other reports, looking at all the different discussions and interviews, Ten Hag reportedly highlighted United's squad's inability to sustain tempo, its poor physical condition. These are issues that have been pointed out by Ralph Rangnick, things that were highlighted by the media under Jose Mourinho, things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tried to fix. He came in his first training session and said, you will be the fastest, most aggressive team in Europe, and he never materialised. Was that on Ole, or was that on the players, or was that a combination of the both? Ten Hag plans to raid his soon-to-be former club, not just for some of their star players, but also someone like head of performance Alessandro Schoenmaker. That could be a massive boost for Manchester United, with the Eye claiming Ten Hag's trusted confidant is in line to follow him to Manchester. The Brazilians believed to be one of the best in the business. AJAX have comfortably been one of the most energetic, high-tempo sides in Europe. Some of the performances that they put in this year have been absolutely sensational, obviously in the Champions League especially. They've been repeatedly punching above their weight. When was the last time someone said that about United? We often punch below our weight. Something Ten Hag requires for his brand of football to be successful has been one of the biggest drawbacks about this Manchester United side. We're bottom of the running distances. We're bottom of the tempo. We don't work as hard as other teams. And you have to get back to being the most hard-working side in football. Everything else falls in place after that. Don't be outrun. Don't be outworked. Well, it's a core tenet of what Ten Hag has his sides doing. And that's what United needs to get back to. And I think if he manages to bring Alessandro with him and he implements that style of play that he's looking for, changes some of the personnel, we could see a real revolution when it comes to tempo and work rate at Old Trafford. And boy, do we need it. That's the 5 things I'm expecting. Have you got any? Throw them in the comments. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Also, I did a video for Patreon the other day. If you fancy supporting the channel, you like the content, but you want to get some more content, check the link in the description and come and join the Patreon massive. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.